Hello, this is Unlimited Splash and welcome to Splash Champs, where one of my viewers tries to win a box and I am not allowed to help. If you have not played in the arenadirect, this is a very punishing event. You have to get 6 or 7 wins before your second loss to get 1 or 2 boxes of play booster packs mailed to your house. The point of my channel is for all of us to get better at draft together so that I'm bringing a community of improvers right along with me on my improvement journey. So to put that idea to the test, I am putting my subscribers in the driver's seat. So in the video that you're about to see, he is going to deck build and play for a box, and I am going to commentate on it. He cannot hear me, and I cannot hear him. This is not just fun to watch, but also an awesome way to learn because you can see all of the decisions that he makes with real-time thought process coming from me. Unfortunately, we're having some struggles here results-wise. 3 attempts so far, and all 3 Splash Champs have fallen a little short. But Avalanche has a good chance of winning us our first Splash Champs box. He's been playing since Invasion, drafting ever since Mirrodin, and he has actually won several boxes already in this very event. So fingers crossed he's going to take some home today. Before we start, a ground rule. Whenever I have a guest on this channel, I do insist on that guest being treated with respect. So before you comment, just ask yourself, am I commenting on a play, which is totally in bounds, or am I commenting on a player, which is not okay? Also, the video is a little choppy during game 1. If that bothers you, just skip to the chapter for game 2 at the bottom here, because we fixed a setting in between that made it a lot smoother. With that said, good luck to Splash Champ number 4. All right, Avalanche is buying his entry, and he is prepped and ready to open something absolutely amazing. As always, we're rooting for 4 copies of Superhero Civil War. Let's see them now. Worlds Within Worlds, bit of a rough one. Moon Girl, okay, Simic build around. Sword of Fire and Ice off of the bonus sheet. Pro Red and Blue. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, it deals 2 damage to any target and you draw a card. Yep, that's a solid one. Right, Storm Force of Nature, that teamer build around. I did try this in the early format. Flying Vigilance, when it deals combat damage to a player, the next instant or sorcery spell has Storm. Wondrous Wasp was a really, really solid one. I think I also saw a Loki, but I didn't get to look at all of the rares. Okay, but we do see actually looks like a large number of white commons and uncommons. I'm just trying to evaluate if it's a large number of different ones. Triple Trickster Stratagem. Yep, Avalanche is pointing that one out. Gloating a little over the Trickster Stratagem bounty that he has stumbled into. Then there's also an unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I'm seeing Khazar as well in green. It did seem like we had a pretty big density of green and blue rares, or at least Simic and blue rares, although don't want to think too much about Worlds Within Worlds, but I would definitely be wanting to play like Wondrous Wasp, for example. So yeah, Moon Girl, 2/2 for 3. When you draw your second card, it gets space, power, and toughness 6/6. I think it may also get trample off of that one. And then as well as that, when an artifact you control enters, you draw a card, but that only triggers once each turn. Okay, so looking at black, it looks like there's a pretty low number of black cards. We seem to have 3 copies of the Hydra Troopers, which is really far from the best thing that you can be doing. There is, I think, actually, yeah, a pretty big number of white cards in this pool. We had Political Triumph, which is probably a little better in draft than sealed, I'm guessing. Brave Brawler, Night Nurse. Claw is a very, very good card. Hour of Defeat, so we do have some removal there. Trickster was one of our, that's the Mercenary. Trickster Mercenary. That was one of our rares. That's the one that copies something at the beginning of your first main phase. It copies a creature that is in a graveyard or on the battlefield. So he's already immediately looking at Simic, which makes sense to me. That was also exactly where my mind went initially, with Unbeatable Squirrel Girl and a whole bunch of good cards in blue, the Wondrous Wasp and the Triple Trickster Stratagem. This could be a really sweet control deck, is what I'm hoping is going to emerge from this process. But the white is also looking tempting. So I think we have to be thinking, my mind with this pool would be going, first of all, let's think about building green-blue. Second, maybe I would think about building white-blue, probably. The green is looking maybe a little bit low on playables for me right now. Notice that most of this build that he has right here is actually blue. And there's really not much green left on the sideboard at all. You don't really want to play the double Hulkling. There's a Hellcat in there. Currently, he's basically looking at a deck that plays every green and blue card in his pool almost. I mean, not every green card, but basically every blue card in the pool. Debating between Depower and Wicken in this build. Depower is the -4/-0 combat trick that draws a card. Wicken is the 4/4 for 5 that when you cast a non-creature spell, blinks something, essentially. All right, I have Avalanche on the line. Actually, he took me by surprise this time by being one of the fastest pool builders that I have seen. Avalanche is going to tell us what the final deck looks like and a little bit about it. So Avalanche, I'm going to ask you very neutrally, kind of what did you think about your pool and how did you settle on the build that's in front of us?
Yeah, so when I first took a look, I felt like I had some really good green and blue cards, and luckily, sort of Fire and Ice was in there, and that was going to make any deck. When I looked at the rest of the pool, I was very sad to see that I don't think I have one basic land cycler, and my lands are extremely mediocre. I didn't get any lands that really helped me out to get splashy. And I think I could have gone white-blue, and it would have been a little safer, if you will. But I think green-blue was just where I was going to have my strongest cards. Gazar is fantastic. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, a little tough to cast. I was thinking about playing the vehicle that lets me tap for any mana. But I figured with a couple of Ant-Man's armies, only going strictly 2 colors, I just realized that I'm going to make one slight change. I'm going to put 9 forests and 8 islands. That was an oversight on my part. But I like where I ended up. And I think there's a lot of strength there. The 3 Tricksters stratagems was nice to look at. We say the nay. So I think you got some good cards.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for the walkthrough and good luck in your run. I know that we're all going to be rooting for you.
Thank you.
So there you go. I didn't even look at the lands or the mana cyclers or anything because he was so fast. Usually I have so much more time to just go look at the rest of the pool and comment on it as it pops up on the screen. But he just went straight to the deck. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. So huge respect. Yep, easy keep. Makes a lot of sense to just fire off a keep there. So, yep, dropping an island, then turn 2 we can hold up We Saving a turn 3. You're probably leaning towards the Ant-Man's army, make a treasure. And then you're actually looking at the opportunity of a turn for Wiccan. So, Shield Spy Kit is always a bit of a groan test when it hits the battlefield on the opponent's side, especially on turn 1. And then Draft Security Officer is yet another groan test. Now, unfortunately for us, those 2 cards do also have synergy. Okay, so at least we got a good counter off on the Captain America's shield. So the thing about Shield Spy Kit is when a creature attacks alone, you get to untap it and scry 1. And then with the Raft Security Officer has a tap ability. So it can keep it, if the board is clear, the Shield Spy Kit allows the Raft Security Officer to keep attacking, untapping, and then you can use it to tap a creature again on the opponent's turn or at the end of your turn. Okay, so Trickster Stratagem, I mean, we have 100,000 of them. It's a nice draw. I will note the opponent, we actually have 2 of them. The opponent is stumbling on lands. King T'Challa. Okay, so that's an annoying one. I believe that means that the second card that we draw is going to also give the opponent an advantage. King T'Challa. I'm just going to pull it up over here. So King T'Challa, when a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. So that connive triggers this ability and gives them a second card. So flashing that in response to the Trickster Stratagem is a bit of a dream. And then on the flip side, it turns into a double striker, prevent all damage that will be dealt to it. And when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Ouch, into the vision. Am I a curse? Am I a curse on the people who come on this program? Seems like everyone is getting such bad beats, but okay, all right. We have plenty of gas in our hand as well. So that is a Sword of Fire and Ice. And look, Sword of Fire and Ice gets protection from red and from blue. Note that King T'Challa is blue, as probably are many of the removal spells that the opponent might have. So you can equip this onto the Ant-Man's army. The Vision is not going to be able to block it and survive, and King T'Challa cannot legally block it. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, you can deal 2 damage to King T'Challa and draw a card. So this is quite a nasty swing right here, and a very nice line found by Avalanche. Oh, it does trigger on the Sword of Fire and Ice draw. Really? Yeah. Really? I'm gonna need a judge to weigh in on that one. All right, but we find our land to be able to play Wiccan. We could also play Ant-Man's Army, make a treasure, but we don't have another 3-drop. One more land and we could play White Tiger and power it up. Wow, the opponent's deck is nice. They have some nice stuff, but so do we. So being able to Trickster Stratagem the Vision would be helpful, but I'm not sure that it's the right play here. Ant-Man's Army cannot necessarily connect. If I'm the opponent, I would gladly either block with Madame Mask or double block with the Vision in the 2/1, depending on what they have in their hand. And because those are 2 different blocks, there's no way that you can Trickster Stratagem your way out of that and ensure that you get to land a blow. You could heavily, and you also really don't want to Trickster Stratagem Madame Mask specifically. Let's see. If we do play Wiccan, it cannot flicker the token. It could flicker the Vision, for example, and you don't want to flicker Madame Mask. So Wiccan is pretty blanked here. It's a tough one. I think one line of thinking here, which might be what Avalanche is considering, is you just kind of want to get some stats and evasion on the board. It makes your Sword of Fire and Ice a lot better. So our Ant-Man's Army is not so precious on its own. But if we can suit up Wiccan, you know, so getting it double blocked or blocked down is not the worst thing in the world. But if we can suit up Wiccan, it just makes it a higher chance that we're going to be able to get damage through. So, for example, Wiccan right now is representing like a 6... Whoa, holy cow. Okay, Cosmic Cube. The opponent's deck is kind of not okay. The level of rares and mythics that they've shown us so far. They even threw away a Frozen in Ice. Where did that even get pitched from? So when you attack, you'll get the top 6 cards of your library. You can cast a spell from among them with mana value less than or equal to the greatest power among attacking creatures you control. So they found a hero in training, which costs 3, and they were attacking with a 3-power creature, so they got to immediately cast it. Yeah, that's a little bit rough. So we can suit up Wiccan, and we can attempt to shoot that hero in training. However, they could just chump with Wiccan, or with the Vision. They probably don't. What's our closest path to winning here? If we do actually start landing blows with Wiccan, then we are the beatdown, right? Hard to say, because they do have 4 menace damage. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that re-equipping the equipment is the right move here. Also, the connive +1/+1 doesn't really help. I do wonder if Avalanche wants to find a land. Okay, so right, you can flicker. So you don't want to flicker Madame Mask. You don't want to flicker Hero in Training. The cube has ward on it. Okay, so flickering the shield spike it. Yeah, well, might as well. Just don't flicker the Vision and fizzle your own Trickster Stratagem. Well, it wouldn't fizzle, but render it useless. Okay, did they just put that on the bottom? Whoa, that would be dramatic. And we get rid of the Ant-Man's Army that we can't cast. So yeah, I was wondering if the goal of the connive is for him to be able to have the extra land. Hopefully you draw an extra land, and then you can actually swing in with Wiccan. I like this a lot. I am wondering if you could have just re-equipped 2 damage straight to face is a nice idea. I probably wouldn't have thought of that. I probably would have gone straight for the chicken play. And drawing the Wondrous Wasp is awesome. So I do wonder if you could have re-equipped in order to push damage, because they probably wouldn't have chumped with the Vision. But hold on, something more important just happened. A supervillain lockup, getting rid of our Wiccan into a Trickster Stratagem. Wow, they also have all interaction to go with their all bombs. I mean, when this kind of thing happens, it's tempting to ask, is our deck too slow? Is our deck too chunky? But I think Madam Mask, Cosmic Cube, Supervillain Lockup, the turn 1 Shield Spy Kit into Raft Security Officer, plus Trickster Stratagem, plus the Vision. I mean, I think you kind of just need your opponent not to have the absolute nuts of all time. Dang. Well, the good news is this is probably the best curve out that we'll face in this event. Okay, so thinking productively here, I agree with playing Falcon and holding up Wondrous Wasp for the simple reason that that is the most cardboard that you can put down. If you could play Giant Size Flying Ant plus White Tiger plus Wondrous Wasp, that would probably be better, because then you would get a tap out of it. And then they have Murdoch's Crusade. And it's lethal and then some, right? Because we could tap down at 3-2. Yeah, tough beat. That was a really tough beat. All right, so I know that there was a little bit of choppiness and lag in that game, so we've moved some audio quality, or sorry, some of the video quality a little bit down. Hopefully it'll be a little bit smoother in the next game, and apologies for that. So Avalanche is going into deck tech, and he's just going with the more streamlined, lower curve, more creature-based white deck, blue-white deck. I do think that the curve and creature count on this one both look better, but the ceiling of the card power is a little bit lower, right? You're taking your Squirrel Girl and turning it into a Wakandan Drone Flock, that kind of thing. But having said that, this is exactly how, someone who, Avalanche has a great record of winning in these events, is exactly how somebody who's an old hand at winning boxes approaches these kinds of things. Just when you take a bad beat, calmly just reassess, see if there's something systematically weak about the build that you chose that is making this not exactly the best way of doing things, and then see if you can find a better build. It is also useful to think about how you lost. In that game, we lost against a whole bunch of rares and mythics, honestly. So, and like awesome interaction. So what do you make of that? I mean, one thing to do would be to like slam the table with your fist and rage out. But another thing to do is, if you are losing to a bunch of individually very powerful cards, a strategy you can adopt is make sure that you are winning faster than people are able to cast those cards. Just being highly aggressive can be a great answer to an opponent's hand full of rares and mythics. All right, here we go. We are jumping right in, and the deck is basically just the last thing that you saw, the Azorius blue-white aggro, more creature-based build. This is a good hand. He snap kept it. I mean, you have 2 different 2-drops, both of your colors, and a future. There's really nothing more that you can ask. I don't know how many cards we have that go with Loki, but there's one of them, so clearly it's supported enough. Absolutely agree with just running out the Brave Brawler first, so that if there's any removal to be eaten, hey, maybe there's a chance that Brave Brawler eats it. I do like the opponents. Are those Bloomburrow lands? Maybe. Maybe not, actually. All right, opponent passes it to us. I do think the game's looking smoother, right? So happy about that. Looks like the change in quality worked. Okay, in goes Brave Brawler. Let's get a little death touch down. Now, it's interesting. There would be one way of thinking that you would play the Loki, God of Mischief, and then if something happens in combat, you would be able to target the Brave Brawler with your Panther Pounds, and then Loki's ability, when a permanent or player becomes a target of an ability you control, draw a card. That would trigger. So Night Nurse is coming in. He's going to give it flying in response. So I'm curious about why we didn't play Loki first to get the card draw in case this happened. I wonder if he's trying to leave up the impression of Wiseline. I wonder if he prefers to pop the clue here, but that wouldn't make sense because it will put you down a card in the long run. But I would rather have had Loki down, used my mana, and drawn a card in that situation. Maybe he's just slow rolling it to make it not eat removal or counters. That could be it. He could have read the Night Nurse as a potential Wiseline. Okay, that's actually what I think happened here. I think he thought the 2 mana up, he didn't really want to play Loki into it. That would make sense. Okay, the opponent drops Construct a Cosmic Cube. Now, I'm going to need to be told what this does. Construct a cosmic cube. Okay, so when you draw your second card each turn, you make a 2/1 black villain creature token with menace. When the 7th plane counter is put on it, in case having 7 2/1s didn't win the game for you already, you gain control of target opponent during their next turn. So essentially, when you draw your second card each turn, you get a 2/1. It's like a Madame Mask enchantment. And then the second ability is just realistically almost never going to be relevant. I do wonder how many ways that we have of triggering Invisible Woman. Or, yeah, Loki and Invisible Woman as well. A little bit unfortunate for us that I Am Iron Man came with an extra 2/1 stapled onto it. Okay, so, but we are on just a beatdown plan, right? So he doesn't want to attack with a Koyi because don't really want to trade the 3/2. The 2/1s are essentially unblockable because they both have first strike, and then Brave Brawler is also very hard to block here. The opponent's thinking about it, but maybe they're thinking they can get him to commit mana or something, but no matter what, knowing what's in our hand, we're just going to power that thing up. And we get in 6 damage, 4 of it is life linking. The opponent maybe a little bit stuck on lands, but we're stuck on having a few too many lands, I'd say. They may be land cycling. Yeah, they're land cycling in AIM Scientists. Okay, they grabbed a Plains for that. And then it makes perfect sense that the opponent gets to attack with both. They're probably not blocking the tokens. They're not blocking the 4/3. They are holding back a Koyi, but here they get 4 damage against Avalanche, and then they also get 2 life gain back. Hopefully they don't have another way of drawing 2. That would be annoying. Construct a cosmic cube. Probably, oof, another land. Probably gets good when you have, I would say, 3 ways of activating it, but it's still really slow. All right, so we're attacking with a lot. We'll see what the opponent's got here. It did seem like the opponent had decisions to make. They decided not to do something during their turn in order to do something now. Another King T'Challa! Are you kidding me? Okay, so how good is that actually here, though? So we are probably not drawing our second card that often. The King T'Challa is just a 3/2 flash that did not want to get into combat, but it does flip into a double striker. And the opponent did not play it for 6 because they didn't have the mana for it. We can't block a 2/5 double striker, or a 3/3 double striker, I mean, with our 2/5 without our 2/5 dying. And then they would get to draw a card, and then when they draw their second card, they get to make a 2/1 villain. I'm beginning to think I'm a bad luck curse. I mean, seriously, like, everyone is running into the... When I play these events, it does not happen to me like this. It feels like everyone has, like, pretty nutso pools that we're running up against in these last few videos. Another land. Not the moment when you want to get flooded. Youch. All right, so we're taking some time to think here. So the question is, like, how aggressively do you want to attack in this spot? I mean, we've got 6, 7, 8, 9 lands out of our deck already. The question is, how aggressively do you want to attack? I think, okay, we're at least going in with the Koyi and Brave Brawler, probably, right? Or we're going in with nothing. But if we go in with nothing, things are starting, we're kind of accepting a fate that things are starting to look a little bit grim. So if you attack with Brave Brawler plus a Koyi, their blocks are Night Nurse gets to trade with a Koyi, and then Ninja of the Hand blocks Brave Brawler or something, simplifying a little bit. When King T'Challa comes through, we can chump it with a 1/1. They have their own Loki. Okay, awesome. I'm not seeing a way for them to target. Okay, so Loki, God of Mischief. I actually think I'm not seeing a way for them to repeatably target. But Loki, God of Mischief, when a permanent or player begins to target of an ability you control, draw a card. Another land. That has got to be frustrating. Crossbones, I believe, should target a player, right? No, only to each opponent, so it actually doesn't even target. And they already leveled up their Ninja of the Hand. But look, realistically, we're not so worried about Loki going off. We're more worried about just losing to normal combat here. At least Invisible Woman is a 2/5, and that 2/5 does have lifelink. So I don't know that we have ways of actually putting counters on things. We already powered up our Brave Brawler. But a 0/4 wall would not be the worst thing in the world here. Oh. The quintuple block. You have to love it. So, I mean, this attack makes good sense to me. You're trying to simplify the board a little bit. You get your choice of things to kill. The quintuple block would be totally shocking because they're tapped down. So we would get to kill Night Nurse, King T'Challa, and Loki. So I feel like that was just a troll. Like, there's no way that that person was actually thinking about quintuple blocking, right? They were going to throw away Loki, King T'Challa, and Night Nurse on that. That did not make sense. Rocks and Brute. That's honestly kind of fine, I'd say. When they draw their second card, a million things happen, but they haven't shown us a lot of ways of drawing their second card, except King T'Challa. To me, why wouldn't you just flip the King T'Challa? Okay, Hero in Training. At least that's something that draws something. That's probably better than just drawing whatever is after it on our deck. Nice to think about tapping carefully here. So King T'Challa, isn't it the case... Quake, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., you say? Yeah, that is annoying that that King T'Challa triggers when your Hero in Training draws. So maybe it's actually not better than just drawing whatever would have been on top. But being able to tap stuff would be nice. So King T'Challa, I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't just flipped it and started attacking with the double striker. I think the opponent could be the beatdown, and I think the opponent is playing a little bit passively, to be honest. I think Avalanche is playing this absolutely right, though. A lot of highlighting is going on. I feel like a removal spell is about to come. Maybe a Trickster Stratagem is what it looks like to me. With a trigger for Loki, Murdoch's Crusade. Draw a card off of Loki when you draw your second card. Mo? Oh no, sorry, inability. Inability, not a spell. It's not Ms. Marvel. So you don't get to do all of your second card stuff. Moonstone Harsh Mistress, that's the one where... cards that you discard, you can play them until the end of your next turn. And it's a 2/4 flyer, which might be the most relevant part of it. I mean, the stats is the most relevant thing here. Just the level of onslaught that we're facing. That's a 4/4 menace, a 3/3 death touch, and a 2/1 menace that are attacking us. What do blocks look like here? I'm probably taking the 4/4. Maybe I put Quake in front of Ninja of the Hand. You have to ask yourself, how am I going to win this game? Like, if I throw away my 1/1s as well... Yeah, the other thing is they do have Panther Pounce mana up and Helicarrier Strike mana up. Although I don't think they necessarily have any combat trick here. I wouldn't be too worried about playing around things just because these attacks make sense in and of themselves without needing something in the opponent's hand to help explain them. Giant Size Flying Ant actually is a nice one. Oh, triggering our Loki. So you want to do that on their turn because otherwise... King T'Challa is going to trigger on your second draw. King T'Challa, whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. Loki, God of Mischief, whenever a permanent or player begins a target of an ability you control, draw a card. So actually, Giant Size Flying Ant was a fantastic draw. Okay, so now... Fantastic. Excellent thinking. So now we can tap down King T'Challa after they... flipped it. The awkward thing is that the Moonstone does kind of blank our Giant Size Flying Ant as an attacker. However, if we could cast We Saving Nay, we could tap down the Moonstone. I think it's very aggressive that the opponent is actually attacking with their Moonstone. I find that quite surprising. Do they have a combat trick that explains this attack? Maybe now they finally have embraced the role. I shouldn't say finally, but maybe they have now truly embraced the role of beatdown. Another land, holy smokes. So maybe we really should have been on 16, but this is just implausible, I think. I think we've drawn way more lands than makes any sense. I'm still very surprised by the opponent's decision to attack with Moonstone. I'm not entirely sure why they left themselves open. Why would they trade 2 damage for 3 damage at this point? I would be playing the Avengers Hanger because the 1 life gain is definitely relevant. We say the name Nay with Kicker. We can also chump that King T'Challa. So if it attacks us, it has double strike, but it doesn't have trample or anything like that. Okay, so the opponent is just fully of the thinking that they are the beatdown. Also, Night Nurse does help them in the race quite a lot. Unfortunately, we say the Nay's a pretty blank draw. We lost our Quake Agent of Shield, so we can't even do non-creature spell stuff. We say the Nay, they just have, everyone has so much mana at this point. Well, there's a We Save Nay, but they have more than 4 mana up, so we're basically just denying them their second main phase by doing this if they have something that costs more than 2 mana that they would otherwise want to play then. Frozen and Ice. I mean, these cards are good, but we just spent so many turns drawing lands that it would take quite an amazing sequence to get us out of this spot. Do we attack? I probably at this point want to trade Loki's, hold the Loki back because it holds their Loki back, but get in with the giant size flying ant. I think that makes a lot of sense. You are winning this race in the air. Next turn they hit you to 8, you hit them to 3, etc., etc. Oh good, they got a big lifelinker. Just what they needed. Rats. Yeah, I mean, I think you shouldn't use this explanation too often because it's kind of an easy way to sidestep learnings. But I definitely think we flooded out this game, like, quite notably, if you actually ran the numbers on how many lanes Avalanche drew. Oh, does this do something? So Black Panther is no longer going to trigger on the second draw. But we're dead on board if we just shoot... What's the oops about? So we're dead on board if we just shoot the Night Nurse, and we're going to take 6 next turn. Oh, he didn't want to trade. The oops is if he hadn't traded off the Loki, then he would draw a card from equipping. But you can't know that, right? So this is a Hail Mary. We're hoping to draw something relevant here. We're going to shoot Night Nurse to get it off the board. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't an oops. Okay, Trickster's Stratagem. This is how we turn it around, right, folks? The fact that King T'Challa got blanked, and then we get to rip a Trickster's Stratagem off the top and put a counter on our Giant Size Flying Ant. More likely we're going to... Oh, we can't target our Giant Size Flying Ant because it has protection from blue. That's really funny. Okay, I just hope that the opponent did not draw something. Wow, this really turned around in a hurry. Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay, if they drew a removal spell, it's looking pretty bad for us, but having the Sword of Fire and Ice up is totally relevant because that makes every creature super live, and we can sustain 2 more turns of hits from Moonstone. Also, the fact that Black Panther was flipped, so they didn't get to draw a card for our second card draw. Okay, that's bold. I wonder what this is about. It's a little bit scary. Let's see. It's probably not a take out the shield. They would have used that on defense. It's not. Let's see. Panther Pounce wouldn't kill us. They're not in giant growth mana. That wouldn't even do it. Or lightning strike. They're 1 damage short of that. Let's see. Tense moment. They're holding priority. Electra. Okay, no. It doesn't have mana value 3 or less. Play the flying blocker. So Wondrous Wasp. We can tap down the Moonstone. This is the good thing about flooding out, right? Then you just draw all of your action one after another after another. What amazing Magic cards. The opponent oopsed it out on the end there. Wow. Yeah. It was not a mistake to trade off that Loki. That was absolutely necessary. If there is another mistake, then I missed it. But wow, what a great game. I was pretty darn worried at a certain point there, but Avalanche just kept the attack rolling, found the right moments to get into combat, sending in that Brave Brawler as a lone attacker, for example, really changed the clock, and has just made some, you know, minor cosmetic changes to the top end of the curve. But fantastic magic. I mean, Sword of Fire and Ice, it just goes to show you the strength of that card. Absolutely unreal. And never give up. I mean, it really looked like we were kind of down and out there, but nope, turned it right around. And looks like another good keep. So we're firing right into the next match. Hopefully we have a more of an even balance over time of lands and non-lands. All right, down comes a swamp. We can balance it out with the plains, and I'm all for absolutely just putting down the Raft Security Officer rather than holding up the counter. It puts you ahead. Next turn, you could conceivably be able to tap something down and hold up the counter. And the cards that they play are just going to get better and better as time goes on. And now we can even hold up a Night Nurse plus We Saving A. I mean, nothing in Magic makes me feel more comfortable than this. Having 3 different types of control going on, plus a Trickster's Stratagem next turn if they sneak something through, which they're not going to because you can just counter their Hulkling. Yeah, beautiful stuff. We are maybe a little bit light on action here because there's nothing to Trickster's Stratagem. So maybe that's an argument for Trickster's Stratageming the Hulk and holding the counterspell, but I don't think so. I think this was the right line. Ant-Man's Army, a card we're not super inclined to Trickster's Stratagem, but okay, we can just, yep, land the Night Nurse. It attacks nicely into Ant-Man's Army. I mean, you could actually Trickster's Stratagem the Ant-Man's Army because getting another treasure 2 turns later is not so good. You really want to get the extra counter, although, you know, on the lifelinker, although the fact that we drew a land means we're just absolutely throwing away a land here. No questions asked. Now, with the Raft Security Officer, we could also have just tapped down the Ant-Man's Army. Another land. I mean, maybe we really should be on 16. But that would mean 1 less damage. So they did put the Ant-Man's Army back on top, which suggests they might be ramping up to something or trying to fix into something. World War Hulk. What is going on? Playing a Pet Avengers for free. Okay, all right. Okay. So World War Hulk. Oh, drawing another Trickster Stratagem is awesome. The next red or green creature can be spent without paying its mana cost. Put 3 counters on a creature control. So Trickster Stratagem, amazing draw here because now that is going to whiff. The 3 counters will not have a target. And then choose a creature control, double its power and toughness into another Trickster Stratagem. Hey, I mean, this is why Avalanche is in blue, right? Because he saw triple Trickster Stratagem. So that third ability there, the until end of turn double something's power and toughness and it gains trample. Basically, they just want to put down the statsiest thing that they possibly can right now. It looks like that statsiest thing is in Ant-Man's Army. So if I were in their shoes, I might not have put the Ant-Man's Army on top because it looks like they might be a little bit crunched on lands. And the treasure from the Ant-Man's Army does not really substitute for more lands. So I think putting it second from the top is looking a little suspicious from this vantage. Okay, so what we could do is we could Trickster Stratagem, let's say Kunlun Warrior, which basically just destroys it, and then put the counter on Night Nurse, and then use the Raft Security Officer to tap down the Ant-Man's Army and get in for 3 lifelink. However, we might really prefer to save the Trickster Stratagem for the Pet Avengers. Just a little bit awkward because we can't really keep the beatdown going here. So he is going to save the Trickster Stratagem for Pet Avengers, which makes good sense to me. Now, Raft Security Officer gets to tap down whatever they target to double its power and toughness, so we don't have to worry about that. World War Hulk basically got wasted, which, spoiler alert, often happens with World War Hulk. Big part of the problem with that card. Ninja of the Hand, it jokes on you. Our hand is full of things that we don't care about. So that's the benefit of drawing all sorts of terrible stuff. We're learning about the benefit of Flood today very efficiently from our good friend Avalanche. Okay, so probably you're wanting to save the giant size flying ant as a surprise. You could just push 3 damage here. Yeah, I think this is a lot better. Just push the 2 damage, keep the flying ant as a surprise. And probably you just let the opponent attack through with whatever they want. If they play the Pet Avengers, Okay, maybe you tap down a potential attacker, then they're going to play the Pet Avengers, then you Trickster Stratagem the Pet Avengers, because that's the one that we most want to Trickster Stratagem, especially because it could actually power up next turn, and Avalanche and I are on exactly the same wavelength. That's what he's going to do. He's planning to Trickster Stratagem the Pet Avengers, so no need to save the Giant Size Flying in until the end step and tap it down then. Instead, he's going to tap down an attacker, just save himself a little bit of HP. He's in a race. He's pretty handily leading in that race, but no need to give up race equity here. So one thing that we could do is use the Raft Security Officer to tap down the Kunlun Warrior. Could even put the counter on Night Nurse to gain some extra lifelink HP. But I think this makes sense. The thing is, the Pet Avengers is going to come down as a 5/5 next time, maybe. Depends on if they have a land either in their hand or the next card in their library. Now, this is an interesting choice. So we probably want to use the Raft Security Officer this turn, not play the Brave Brawler. So I think discarding the Plains makes the most sense. It is a little awkward that next turn we cannot double spell Brave Brawler plus Okoye. However, we could play Brave Brawler and level it up. And that is a card that can attack through Pet Avengers if it comes down with the power up. Oh, Ant-Man's Army makes a treasure, which is going to let them play the Pet Avengers and power it up in one go. So, oh, Loki, with Raft Security Officer, let's go. No, that is too awesome. So we can go Loki, Raft Security Officer. Don't even have to Raft Security Officer during our turn. It's not going to push any more damage. This is looking really good. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. This is looking really good. So we can now attack with a Giant Size Flying Ant. When they play Pet Avengers, we're going to be able to tap it down. What is this? Truck Toss onto Giant Size Flying Ant. That's a little annoying. That's a little annoying. I'd still rather be us than the opponent. Now, do you play the Brave Brawler rather than... Oh, I see. Now this is actually good thinking. There's no reason to specifically tap down Pet Avengers anymore. They also do not get to level up Pet Avengers. We're just drawing an extra card every turn, so that has got to feel good. Whoa, that is a super premature concession. I am very surprised to see that. And I mean, obviously we're rooting for Avalanche here. We want him to win a box and help the Splash community get back from our 03 doldrums here. But it's a little sad to see a premature concession like that. But you know, I mean, you have a right to concede a game anytime you want to. Yes, Loki plus Raft Security Officer is a really strong combo, but did they really have no more removal? They could start attacking with a 5/5, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Bit of a weak hand. I mean, we have 2 pieces of interaction in equipment and no creatures. Personally, I would throw this back, I think. Because it's not like we're in a deck with tons of card selection. But I know I'm more eager to mulligan than a lot of people are, so... I mean, you can almost think of it as having a 2-drop. Oh, he almost fired out the plains or the island and caught himself just in time when he saw that political triumph come up out of the top of his library. All right, down comes a villainous hideout from the opponent. But okay, one more win and we are actually going to get some gems back, which is a very nice turnaround. I probably would counter this, I think. But I'm just so annoyed by Raft Security Officer so much of the time that probably not even thinking rationally. So next turn we do get to land a Wakanda drone flock. We did save our We Saving Day, so whatever happens this turn, we do have a counter for. Okay, well that's a good counter target. If they have some equipments, then we will want to have countered that. And now we do get to land the Wakandan drone flock, and that will trigger the political triumph. So it enters. We get to scry 1, and then we get to scry 2. So we're going to keep that on top, but then we do get to see another card. Okay, and he wants that one as well. Basically, if it's not a land, or if it's a creature, we want it, I think, is the simple algorithm here. But yeah, a beautiful, beautiful turnaround from Avalanche after getting just absolutely clobbered by unbelievable rares in interaction game 1, and then almost going down to just incredibly unlikely flood game 2 before he found his excellent bombs. Okay, so I would definitely be attacking and then playing Wiccan, and I don't think it's close, and scrying the 3/3 to the top. Our dream is that one day they invest so much in Viv Vision that we're going to tap it down, but with Frozen and Ice, but That's a long ways off for sure. So let's see what the opponent has here. All right, Murdoch's Crusade on the Wiccan. Is the opponent stuck on 3 lands? That would be a good sign for us. Although we never root for mana screw around here, even when it's our opponents. Okay, drop Quake, then Raft Security Officer can tap the Drone Flock, and then Supersuit untaps something, right? Flashes in and untaps. So you can probably play the Supersuit. Okay, we get to... This Scry is just so good. So Supersuit, untap that creature. You could flash in the Supersuit to untap your Aquan Drone Flock and get to attack with it. And then you also can tap something with Quake if you want to. Not clear that it's worth doing, but it is an option that Avalanche is currently weighing. Yeah, the other idea is just that you frozen in ice. Maybe Raft Security Officer. I don't know, cracking in for 4 does sound kind of tempting, but maybe he'd rather use the Supersuit to just kill something, because basically if they attack with Viv Vision... What is this? I see. He frozen in ice to the Raft Security Officer and had to declare it as a target. Okay. So basically, if you get attacked by Viv Vision, you can use Supersuit to snap it up. So maybe that's the use that he's more interested in. Ninja of the Hand, but it doesn't look like they can power up, which is good news for us. Really good news for us. I think the opponent is just trying to play something. Falcon is actually a very, very, very nice draw here. It's going to trigger Political Triumph. When that Falcon token comes in, we are going to get an extra... So couldn't we have gotten some extra +1/+1 counters here? So when the 4th plane counter is put on it, when a creature enters, you put a counter on it. When the 4th plane counter goes on. I see. He was wondering if this was going to be a Helicarrier Strike because the opponent's mana added up to 4 and they only played a 3-drop. So he was wondering if he would want to use the Supersuit to save something. If he had popped Political Triumph first, then he would have not been able to save it. However, he does this anyways. So maybe we should have played the Falcon first, right? Because we didn't end up wanting to save our card anyways. Maybe he was playing around Panther Pounce and wasn't thinking about Helicarrier Strike. That actually makes more sense. Does it? No, because Panther Pounce would untap Ninja of the Hand, give it flying, and make it a Death Touch blocker. So never mind. I think we should have played the Falcon first, but I think that's a minor inaccuracy, unless I'm misunderstanding something. If they play a land here, they could power up Ninja of the Hand, but they cannot make us discard our Supersuit because it has Flash. I will also say, you know, I'm like very fast on the trigger to try to spend removal and counters, I think. But if we had countered the Raft Security Officer on 2, we wouldn't have had it for Ronin, so they would have played Ronin. But then no way would we have frozen an ice Ronin because they haven't played any equipment yet. And then we would still have the frozen in ice, right? So I definitely would have countered the Raft Security Officer there, and I think so far it would have turned out better. However, if they do play a good equipment, then the logic completely reverses. We're throwing away Night Nurse instead of Supersuit. Interesting. I wonder if that's because Night Nurse can push more damage, or Supersuit can push more damage. Oh, heck yeah. Loki with Supersuit. Yeah, I think it's because Supersuit pushes damage immediately. Night Nurse is only useful if they do end up like dealing with our stuff and is a much longer game plan. The Supersuit is an extra damage right now, so that makes sense, pitching the Night Nurse. I like the move. That's not going to do the trick, so we have more than enough damage in the air. Might as well just take some hits. And yeah, lethal on the crackback. So there we go. This is our first Splash Champ to win some gems back. We are currently 3 wins, 1 loss. It looks like switching to the white deck was a good move. So the record is we currently get, I think, 3,200 gems back, something like that. So not quite half of the entry fee, but if you do win another one before you lose, then you do get back almost half of your entry fee. So let's go. Hugely rooting for Avalanche. He's done it before multiple times in this very event. He has Marvel play booster packs coming to his house already. Can he get some more before our very eyes? The only deck that took him down was a totally egregious Bomb Factory. So that's a good sign. And it was when he was playing the green-white, or the green-blue deck, not the blue-white deck. This is a much, much slower hand, but I like it. I mean, Trickster's Stratagem, I mean, I don't love the hand, but Trickster's Stratagem is definitely interaction that can, you know, keep you alive, keep you moving. But we would definitely have wanted to draw like a 2-drop anywhere along the way. This hurts to be only seeing lands. It does feel like there's something with our mana, doesn't it? Like we keep feeling like we just have way too many lands. Looks like, okay, it looked for a second like we saving A, but it was actually just a mana cycler. Always a relief when that happens. So we do get to scry. This political triumph, it helps us so much. I definitely do just want the creature, any creature. I think because, you know, because it's so much less, probably I'm not wanting Supersuit. We just have so many things that are not creatures to be doing. We have a political triumph as a payoff for every creature that we play. It is a little bit awkward because it only uses a tiny amount of your mana, and you can't double spell Night Nurse into Trickster's Stratagem or Night Nurse into a Wakanda Drone Flock if it dies and you get it back. Which, speaking of which, that's what just happened. So we probably do Trickster's Stratagem for the card selection. I do not think so. I think we probably just, yeah, sit on our hands for the moment. Pretty awkward that they managed to get the get rid of the Wakandan Drone Flock. So the card, by the way, I should have put this up earlier. The card that they have is Loki Lofacin. It is a 2/1 for 2. 1 tap. When you next cast an instant or sorcery with mana value less than or equal to Loki's power this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. You got it? It does have a power up for 5. Basically, you can copy a small spell right now. It has a power up for 5 mana. And that power up ability does let you start copying bigger spells, like something with mana value 4. Okay. Now, the opponent has done absolutely nothing, which scares me. But I did like this move by Avalanche to just stay active. But I'm very concerned that the opponent, there's just a good shot that they have something here. Well, they didn't. But also, we are running a little bit on fumes at this point. I wonder if it's a giant size flying ant. They let us go to attackers, which they probably would not have done if it were giant size flying ant. What is this? What do they have? Nothing? Are they just mana screwed, or they're playing a ramp deck? Kazar is a very, very good card. It is true, as Avalanche is pointing out to us, we can Trickster Stratagem the token. So, or actually, wait. No, he might have just been checking that. So there are a lot, I always have to double check this, because there are a lot of bounce effects like Justice, for example, or Wiccan that do not target tokens in this set, but this one does target a token, so we're good. That's part of what makes Trickster Stratagem so extremely good. We have a good shot here of just finding a 2-drop or any creature that we can play to get another scry off of the Political Triumph. I think it's not that unlikely. Opponent is... Okay, well, that's not a 2-drop. Opponent was thinking hard about whether to put their token second from the top or on the bottom. So Night Nurse would hold back 3 damage here, but blocking is a little tricky when they have 3 colors and 5 cards in hand, or 4 unknown cards in hand. And also, there's actually a 4 life point swing hitting the opponent with a Night Nurse, because it has a lifelink. Bold Biochemist. So the opponent basically just had a hand of all expensive stuff. So now they get a 2/4 and draw 2. Hero in Training. Well, if you find a land, you can double spell that into giant size flying it. Political Triumph triggers first and helps you get a land, right? Or resolves first. Does it? I think so. You can order it, I assume. But yeah, this makes sense. Just play the Wiccan. There is a world where you find a non-creature spell and you get to flicker your hero in training. That would be nice. But yes, unfortunately, no attacks. So this is turning a little bit grindy. The opponent has more resources right now, and Kazar lets them do a whole lot of card selection. So that part is a little worrisome, and there's nothing on the opponent's side that we want to flicker. I love that Loki is some random, dirtily uncommon that gets like this massive sound effect in the game. Avengers Hanger, not what we're looking for. I think I'm in favor of playing the hero in training first. technically giant size flying ant does put pressure on, but like I'm really interested in drawing like sort of fire and ice or something. Yeah, and getting a counter on everything is solid. A bit of an insult to then draw a falcon right after all the counters got dispersed, but yeah, like 5 damage from Wiccan is probably our way to get the job done. If the opponent does not have a way of dealing with that, then obviously, I mean, look, they only have so much time to deal with our Wiccan. So let's see if they have like another repulsor blast or something. Fingers crossed that they do not. A reach blocker is not going to do the trick because of the giant size flying ant being able to tap it down. And there aren't that many really big reach blockers either. Okay, I mean, this is starting out nicely. The Echo can double the Moon Girl trigger to be able to draw 3 cards here, so they have some digging capacity. Are we gonna activate Echo? I for sure would. Well, yeah, might as well draw the card first. Echo Perceptive Prodigy, you can copy the triggered ability you control from a creature source. I'm surprised that they didn't do it, actually. The creature also has Vigilance, but I don't think that you wanted to attack with it. But that might suggest that they do have like a repulsor blast or something, because they didn't want to tap down that extra land. We just have a lot of damage in the air, though. It's looking like they don't have something obvious to do. All right, slap down the flying ant. What's going on here? So they have priority and 4 mana up. They may be about to pop their Futurist Forge. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. They're digging. That's, I mean, that would be the best case scenario for us. If they're just digging with the Futurist Forge and they didn't want to tap down their Echo mana. Yeah. Okay. We have 8 damage in the air now. And then we're about to play a Falcon. Oh, what is this? What is this? Oh, this is tense. Lightning Strike. Echo is going to copy the Loki. What Rube Goldberg machine is about to happen? We have 2 Lokis on the stack into a Lightning Strike, and then we get to triple strike. That would be grotesque. It is a Lightning Strike. Oh man. Wow. What a beat here. Triple Lightning Strike. At least the opponent did it in a cool way, right? They didn't just have 3 Lightning Strikes in hand and they had to dig for it. Triple Lightning Strike off of the Loki Echo stack. I mean, you hate to see it, but you love to see it. But you hate to see it because we're rooting for Avalanche. As an absolute enthusiast of Magic shenanigans, you know, respect the player, respect the game. As a fan of Avalanches in this match, that was tough to watch. So I'm of 2 minds. I'm torn. I think, yeah, playing the Avengers Hanger doesn't get you a lot of equity here. You don't really need the extra life, probably, knock on wood. You're either losing or you're winning, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Aerial Doombot kind of shuts us down. And it does give you another card to throw away if you get to connive off of like a Trickster Stratagem, for example. Best case scenario for us, they don't have a lot going on. We draw a Trickster Stratagem, flip their Aerial Doombot, get to attack for 4. But the triple Lightning Strike was a bit of a moment where the tables turned on us. The opponent really had to think that one out. That turn was so complicated from their perspective, right? Because you had to... I knew something was fishy when they didn't copy the Moon Girl draw. Because... another 2 flyers. Okay, I mean, that's... enough already. Stop. When they didn't copy with the Echo, I knew something fishy was going on. Because why would you just not draw a card? They had to have something for 4 mana. That means they were planning out all the way back. Maybe the Futurist Forge is how they got the Lightning Strike. Or they already had the Lightning Strike and exactly the mana. And so they just knew that they could play Futurist Forge, but they couldn't spare the extra pip in order to copy, you know, to like, so that they would only be able to cast Lightning Strike twice instead of 3 times. Thinking to copy Loki's ability with Echo is too cool. I mean, that's just pretty sick. So kudos to the opponent. I just wish that they hadn't done it against a Splash Champ. I mean, come on. So Avalanche also behaving like a responsible citizen here, just attacking with the surveil creature to just try to find his outs. Can we get, I don't know what the out is this time. Last time it was top decking Sword of Fire and Ice at exactly the right moment. Here it's probably a combination of 3 or 4 cards, or 2 or 3 cards. You need to find Trickster Stratagem into Sword of Fire and Ice, them not have an answer. I mean, Raft Security Officer does decrease the number of removal spells that you need to find by 1, because it essentially is a repeated removal spell. Oh, that's annoying also. That kind of re-increases it by 1, unfortunately. Whatever they attach to, you can tap down, I think, with the because Captain America's shield, I'm hesitant to even put any cards up at this point because because it will block a lot of this incredibly complicated board. But Captain America's shield puts 0+8 and vigilance when it attacks, tap a creature defending player controls. So we are facing a onslaught that could prove lethal in no small amount of time. Okay, so we're blocking to kill. Aerial Doombot is potentially going to be a 4/4. Kill the Moon Girl, that makes sense to me. They cannot have anything. One thing that does scare me is, why did they play Captain America's shield and then not equip it? What's going on with that? Like, they could have tapped down Falcon, saved their little 1/1. So they must have something for a lot of mana. Is it Photon Blast Barrage or whatever? Echo onto the Loki again. This is a cool but devastating trick. What are we going to get 3 copies of this time? Is it the Photon Barrage? Giant Crow. Triple Giant Crow. Okay, I love the opponent's deck. I have to admit it. But I just wish that we weren't facing it. Wow. These are some incredible shenanigans. Looks pretty lethal, right? Yeah. Wow, what a way to go down. Wait, hold on. Oh, we had 3 lifelink. Never mind. It was not lethal, but next turn is going to be... All right, get that extra life. Yep. We have a reach creature. We have a tapper. It's not over till it's over. Oh, okay, it's over. Just do some daily quests. Put Mr. Reed down. Youch. Oh, wow. It was a fun game. I agree. All right, let's hear what Avalanche has to say. Oh man, what a beat. I mean, Loki into Echo copying the Loki ability to have 3 copies of every spell. What on earth was that?
That was so tough. And you knew it as you're watching. I bet you knew a lightning bolt was coming. I just had a feeling, and sure enough, it was there.
100%. The moment that I smelled something scary was when they did not copy the Moon Girl's ability, the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. They could have drawn a card with Echo, and I was like, okay, what is going on here?
Oh, yeah, that was tough. And then I knew I made it felt like Giant Growth was there too, and sure enough, it was. But I think at that point, I don't even know what I'm playing towards. I don't know what my out is. So I don't think there was too much I could do at that point.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like, there's just so many different things it could be, right? I was wondering if it was Photon Blast Barrage or something, actually.
Sure.
But hey, you know what? You got some gems back. That is the closest to a box.
Rebate.
What's that?
Oh, we'll take a little rebate.
Absolutely, yeah, and it'll help you run for another box.
Yep.
Do you have any overall thoughts about the pool, or any parting words for the audience?
I think I am someone who definitely builds quick, plays quick, and sometimes that definitely hurts me. I lose some points here and there. I think if I would have originally at least put the white and blue out there, as we know, should be playing Azorius 3 times more often than, some other colors. I think maybe having 2 bullets with this deck would have been the right play versus trying to get like fancy and a little heavier on the bombs with the other deck. I think I may have looked at some of the bigger cards in green and just felt too good about it. And I think if I would have taken my time, maybe I would have run this deck the whole time.
Gotcha. Yeah, it can be really hard. It can be really hard to know. Something that I think about a lot is something LSV once said to like a listener write in to LR, where someone was like, you know, what's the optimal speed to play? And he was basically like, I think if you're someone who plays fast, forcing yourself to play slow, maybe it could get some benefits if you do it in like a really structured, careful way. But for the most part, it might just hurt you to play differently from your normal speed. So it's useful to have that specific advice of like, spending more time on the deck building specifically, you're not going to lose any games because you spent more time deck building, right?
Very true.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining Splash Champs. I'm sad that you didn't get a box, but congratulations on the gems.
Thank you. It was a blast. Thanks for having me.
All right, folks, we have one, maybe two more episodes of Splash Champs left. So to see those, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to be considered for the next Splash Champs when we have an Arena Direct, I assume there will be one in August. Just join the Discord. There's a link in the description and also a link in my channel bio. Find me on Discord. My username there is Unlimited Splash. Add me as a friend, DM me, and let me know that you'd like to be put on the wait list, because I'm going to have a wait list and I'm going to ask the people on the wait list first the next time that this happens. All right, so until tomorrow, have tons of fun playing Magic. Oh, I should say a huge thanks to Avalanche for joining us. That was a blast to have him here on Splash Champs. And yeah, until tomorrow, have tons of fun playing Magic and don't be afraid to splash.